Mufasa, The Lion King is a 2024 American musical drama film produced by Walt Disney Pictures. The photorealistically animated film serves as both a prequel and sequel to The Lion King, 2019, which itself is a remake of the 1994 animated film. 6. Directed by Barry Jenkins from a screenplay written by Jeff Nathanson, the film's cast includes Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner, Donald Glover, Beyoncé Knowles Carter, and John Connie reprising their roles from the remake. New cast members include Aaron Pierre, Kelvin Harrison Jr., Tiffany Boone, Mads Mikkelsen, Thandai Newton, Lenny James, Anika Noni Rose, and Blue Ivy Carter in her feature film debut. 7. It features Rafiki recounting to Simba and Nala's cub, Kiara, the history of Mufasa, including how he first met Scar and other allies, his battle against a renegade pride of white lions, and the journey that led him to become king of the Pride Lands. Development on a prequel to The Lion King was confirmed in September 2020, with Jenkins attached to direct and Nathanson finishing a draft of the script. Pierre and Harrison were announced as the voice cast in August 2021, followed by further casting between September 2022 and April 2024. The film was officially announced when its official title was revealed in September 2022 at the 2022 D23 Expo announcement. Production on the film slowed down in July 2023 due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. The film is dedicated to James Earl Jones, the voice of Mufasa in the 1994 film and remake, who died 3 months before the film's release. As a tribute, his voice is heard briefly during the opening titles. 8-9. Mufasa, The Lion King premiered on December 9, 2024, at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles, and was distributed in the United States by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures on December 20. 10. The film received mixed reviews from critics who praised the visual effects, vocal performances, and Jenkins' direction but were critical of the screenplay. It grossed $723 million, making it the 6th highest grossing film of 2024. Plot. Sometime after Simba defeated his usurping uncle Scar and became king of the Pride Lands, he and Nala have a daughter, Kiara, and are expecting another cub. They leave for an oasis for the birth, leaving Timon and Pumbaa to watch over Kiara. Rafiki visits them and recounts the story of Kiara's grandfather Mufasa, with Timon and Pumbaa adding color commentary. Years before, as a cub, Mufasa lives with his parents, Masigo and Afia, in a coastal desert while dreaming of the legendary Mile, a lush oasis. A flash flood rages, seemingly killing the couple, and sweeps Mufasa into a wetland where he meets Taka, a royal cub. After surviving an attack by young crocodiles, Mufasa is accepted by Taka's mother Queen Eshe but tested by King Obesai, who races Taka and Mufasa to decide his fate. Taka deliberately loses so Mufasa can stay. As time passes, the two brothers grow close, although Obesai prejudices outsiders. During a hunt, Mufasa kills one of 2 attacking white lions. The survivor warns Kiros, leader of the outcast outsiders, who seek revenge for Kiros' son Chija's death. King Kiros, along with his sisters Akua and Amara, leads an assault on Obesai's pride, massacring Obesai, Eshe, and their lions. At Eshe's urging, Mufasa and Taka flee before the outsiders arrive, jumping from a waterfall to escape their attack. After getting stranded in a jungle, the pair meet Sarabi, her hornbill scout Zazu, and a young Rafiki. Rafiki, guided by visions, leads them toward Mile. The outsiders catch up to the group, forcing Sarabi to cause an elephant stampede so they can escape. Taka falls for Sarabi but grows jealous when Mufasa saves her during the stampede. Out of loyalty, Mufasa credits Taka with Sarabi's rescue. As they travel through snowy mountains, Sarabi admits she knows Mufasa saved her, and the two fall in love. Envious, Taka allies with Kiros, secretly leading the outsiders to their group. At Mile, Rafiki identifies Mufasa as his brother from the prophecy. The outsiders arrive to attack, and Mufasa discovers Taka's betrayal while battling Kiros. Trapped in a cave, Mufasa is nearly killed by Kiros until, upon realizing what he has done, a remorseful Taka intervenes. Kiros slashes across Taka's eye, leaving a scar. As the animals of Mile are rallied to battle the outsiders by Mufasa, Rafiki causes an earthquake that kills most of the outsiders, while Kiros drags Mufasa into an underwater cavern. A rock fall allows Mufasa, remembering Eshe's earlier advice, to defeat Kiros, and Taka saves Mufasa from drowning, fighting off the urge to drown him. Surabi witnesses the rescue, sympathizes Taka, reunites with Mufasa, and they all exit the cave together. Mufasa becomes king of Mile and reunites with the surviving Afia, learning Masigo has died. Mufasa forgives Taka and allows him to stay but disowns Taka's name for his unintentional betrayal, prompting Taka to adopt the name Scar. Mufasa ascends the newly created and named Pride Rock and roars over his kingdom. In the present, Kiara roars into the sky as Mufasa's spirit watches. Kiara reunites with Simba and Nala and meets her newborn brother, offering to tell him their grandfather's story. Voice cast. Main article, List of the Lion King, franchise, characters. A smiling Kelvin Harrison Jr. A smiling John Connie. A smiling Billy Eichner. A smiling Seth Rogen. A smiling Donald Glover. A smiling Beyoncé. Blue Ivy Carter. A smiling Anika Noni Rose. A smiling Keith David. A smiling Mads Mikkelsen. A smiling Thandai Newton. A smiling Lenny James. A smiling Foleko Lo Afoyaku. A smiling Thusom Bidu. Sheila Atim. Aaron Pierre, in 2024, Kelvin Harrison Jr. In 2021, John Connie, in 2015, Billy Eichner, in 2025, Seth Rogen, in 2025, Donald Glover, in 2015, Beyoncé Knowles Carter, in 2023, Blue Ivy Carter, in 2023, Anika Noni Rose, in 2024, Keith David, in 2012, Mads Mikkelsen, in 2025, Thandai Newton, in 2021, Lenny James, in 2019, Foleko Lo Afoyaku, in 2023, Thusom Bidu, in 2019, and Sheila Atim, in 2014. Aaron Pierre as Mufasa, an orphaned lion who grows up to become the future king of the Pride Lands, the father of Simba and the grandfather of Kiara. Pierre voices Mufasa as an adolescent. Breland and Brielle Rankins voice Mufasa as a cub. Archived recordings of James Earl Jones as adult Mufasa are used during the opening of the film. Jones died 3 months before the film's release. It was dedicated to his memory. 11. Kelvin Harrison Jr. as Taka, a young lion prince, the adoptive brother of Mufasa, and the son of Eshe and Obesai. He later becomes known as Scar, as well as the uncle of Simba. Harrison voices Taka as an adolescent. Theo Samala voices Taka as a cub. John Connie as Rafiki, a wise mandrill who serves as the shaman of the Pride Lands, and a close friend of Mufasa's, telling his story to Kiara, Timon, and Pumbaa. Connie voices Rafiki as an adult. Kaji Soletiga as young adult Rafiki. Seth Rogen as Pumbaa, a good-humored warthog who befriended Simba when he was a cub and provides color commentary to Rafiki's story. Billy Eichner as Timon, a wisecracking meerkat who befriended Simba when he was a cub and provides color commentary to Rafiki's story. Tiffany Boone as Surabi, a lioness who befriends Mufasa, Taka, Rafiki, and Zazu, and grows up to become the queen of the Pride Lands, the mother of Simba and the grandmother of Kiara. Boone voices Surabi as an adolescent. Donald Glover as Simba, the current king of the Pride Lands and Mufasa and Surabi's son. Glover now voices Simba as a full-grown adult. Mads Mikkelsen as Kiros, the formidable leader of a pride of white lions known as the Outsiders, who seeks revenge on Mufasa for killing his son Chijug. Thandai Newton as Eshe, Taka's mother, Mufasa's adoptive mother, and Obesai's maid. Lenny James as Obesai, Taka's father, Mufasa's adoptive father, Eshe's mate, and the leader of his pride in the Valley of the Kings, who disapproves of Mufasa at first due to prejudice of outsiders. Anika Noni Rose as Afia, Mufasa's biological mother. Blue Ivy Carter as Kiara, Simba, and Nala's daughter, Mufasa and Sarabi's granddaughter and the cub princess of the Pride Lands. Beyoncé Knowles Carter as Nala, Simba's mate, the queen of the Pride Lands, and Mufasa and Sarabi's daughter-in-law. Carter now voices Nala as a full-grown adult. Preston Nyman as Zazu, a young hornbill, Sarabi's scout and the future majordomo to the king of the Pride Lands. Keith David as Masigo, Mufasa's biological father. Joanna Jones as Akua, one of Kiro's sisters. Folekolo Ofoyaku as Amara, one of Kiro's sisters. Dusom Bidu as Unia, a yellow baboon, a friend of Rafiki, and a member of Rafiki's former troop. Sheila Atim as Ajari, a giraffe, who is the leader of her herd who lived in Milele. Abdul Salas as Chigaru, a member of Obaisi's pride who scouts out the outsider's location. Derek L. McMillan as Mosi, an elderly yellow baboon and the member of Rafiki's former troop. Maestro Harrell as Inaki, another elderly yellow baboon and a member of Rafiki's former troop. AJ Beckles as Azabo, a white lion and member of the outsiders who is eaten by lionesses for failing to save Kiro's son Chija due to his injury. Dominique Jennings as Sarafina, a friend of Sarabi who grows up to be Nala's mother. David S. Lee as Mobo, the Cape Buffalo, who helped by Mufasa stands the outsiders in Milele. Gary A. Hecker as Lion vocal effects. In addition, unknown actors voice Zayla, another elderly yellow baboon and a member of Rafiki's former troop. Production. Development. In September 2020, it was announced that a follow-up film to the live-action styled CGI photorealistic 2019 remake of The Lion King, 1994, was in development, directed by Barry Jenkins. 12. It is his fourth feature directorial role and first in blockbuster filmmaking. 13. Reports indicated a story centered on Mufasa during his formative years, with additional scenes focusing on the events after the first film, comparing the structure to that of The Godfather Part 2, 1974. 14. By this point, Jeff Nathanson, the previous installment's screenwriter, had completed a draft of the script. 15. 16. The film was officially announced, with the title of Mufasa, The Lion King at the 2022 D23 Expo. 17. On December 13, 2023, The Hollywood Handle reported that the plot would involve Rafiki telling the story of Mufasa to his granddaughter, Kiara, marking the character's first on-screen appearance in an animated feature film since The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, 1998, the direct-to-video sequel to the original animated film. 18. Regarding any adaptation from Simba's Pride, Jenkins stated that some stuff from the canon is very much alluded and referenced, but it is not an adaptation. 19. Casting. In August 2021, Aaron Pierre and Kelvin Harrison Jr. were cast as the voices of young Mufasa and Scar, respectively. 20. During an interview with Fandango in April 2023 about his film Chevalier, 2022, Harrison confirmed that the film would explore Scar's backstory, portraying him in a hilarious and very spicy way and expressing interest in how the young and sweet Scar's relationship with his brother Mufasa evolves throughout the film. 21. Speaking with comicbook.com in August 2024, Pierre described how his role as Terry Richmond and his work with Jeremy Saulnier in Rebel Ridge, 2024, offered him, like most of his projects, the opportunity to internalize lessons from the work and characters so as to move forward with his role as Mufasa, saying that previous life experiences inform his future ones. 22. By September 2022, it was revealed that Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner, and John Connie would reprise their roles as Pumbaa, Timon, and Rafiki, respectively. 23-24. In April 2024, Beyoncé Knowles Carter and Donald Glover were confirmed to reprise their roles, with Blue Ivy Carter, in her feature film debut, Tiffany Boone, Kaji Solediga, Preston Nyman, Mads Mikkelsen, Thandai Newton, Lenny James, Anika Noni Rose, Keith David, Breland Rankins, Theo Samalu, Foleko Loafoyahu, Joanna Jones, Dosom Bidu, Sheila Atim, Abdul Salas, and Dominique Jennings announced as new additions to the cast. Seven Jenkins considered casting Blue Ivy as Kiara since he heard the audiobook version she did for his friend Matthew A. Cherry's Hair Love, 2019, short film, but had reservations on whether she and her mother would want to act opposite each other, fearing it may hit too close to home. However, both Blue Ivy and Beyoncé were enthusiastic when he proposed the idea to them. Coupled with Beyoncé's Renaissance World Tour, during which Blue Ivy danced to one of The Lion King, The Gift, 2019, album's songs, Jenkins said there was synergy between mother and daughter, with the film showcasing a type of time capsule. 25. Visual effects. In September 2022, at the D23 Expo in Anaheim, California, early footage was shown exclusively to attendees for the first time, thus revealing that production was already underway. 1723-24 Moving Picture Company returned to provide the visual effects. 26 In July 2023, production on the film slowed down due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. 27. Music. Main article, Mufasa, The Lion King, soundtrack. By June 2022, Nicholas Britell was set to compose the score for the film, having previously collaborated with Jenkins on various projects. 28 He was joined by Hans Zimmer and Pharrell Williams in September, returning from the 2019 film. 29 In April 2024, it was announced that Lin-Manuel Miranda would write the songs for the film. 7 Jenkins approached Miranda to work on the film due to keeping in touch since Jenkins almost cast Miranda in his film If Beale Street Could Talk, 2018. 19 He started work on it in secret at the beginning of 2022. 30 Mark Mancina was to co-produce the songs with Miranda, with Lebo M providing additional vocals and performances. 7 In September 2024, Dave Metzger was announced to be composing the film's score, with Zimmer, Britell, and Williams said to have dropped out prior to production. While Metzger received sole credit for the score, Zimmer's themes from the previous films were reused in Metzger's score, such as Under the Stars and King of Pride Rock. 31 Zimmer is additionally credited for the track And So It's Time. Additionally, 4 of Britell's themes for the film were included, all of which he composed with Lebo M. Marketing. During the 2022 D23 Expo, an exclusive preview for the film was shown to those who attended, which revealed that Mufasa was an orphaned cub. The preview also revealed that Rafiki and Timon would tell stories about Mufasa's past and his way to becoming king. 32 Barry Jenkins also appeared when Walt Disney Studios presented its 2024 theatrical slate at Cinemacon on April 11, 2024, to promote the film, where he remarked, "You are probably wondering, what is the director of Moonlight doing talking to me about an 8-quadrant tentpole legacy IP massive film? And I gotta say, the thought was very strange to me at first, as well. But oh my god. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, and I'm so glad I made this picture." 33. The first teaser trailer and the official teaser poster, featuring young Mufasa with his adult counterpart reflected in a puddle in front of him, debuted on April 29, 2024, on ABC's Good Morning America. The trailer's music track was bookended by a new instrumental rendition of Circle of Life, confirming that some musical material by Elton John and Tim Rice from the previous film would be featured in the film in some way. 34 The trailer received a mixed reception, with some deeming the film as unnecessary and a soulless prequel to a soulless remake. Jenkins responded on Twitter writing, "There is nothing soulless about The Lion King. For decades children have sat in theaters all over the world experiencing collective grief for the first time, engaging Shakespeare for the first time, across aisles in myriad languages. A most potent vessel for communal empathy." 35. The official full trailer for the film premiered during the Disney Entertainment Showcase at the 2024 D23 Expo on August 10, 2024, alongside a variant on the first poster with Taka and his future adult counterpart of Scar reflected in the puddle. The presentation also premiered I Always Wanted a Brother, one of the songs Miranda wrote for the film. 36 Miranda appeared in person at D23 for the first time with Jenkins to personally present the trailer. 37. The final trailer was unveiled at D23 Brazil on November 8, 2024, alongside a new poster featuring Mufasa, Taka, Rafiki, Zazu, Timon, Pumbaa, and Kiara. 38 Earlier that day, Tiffany Boone and Kelvin Harrison Jr. appeared on Good Morning America to discuss the film and share a sneak peek of the trailer. 39. Release. Mufasa, The Lion King's world premiere took place at the Dolby Theatre in Los Angeles on December 9, 2024 40, and was released in the United States on December 20, 2024. Tenet was previously scheduled for release on July 5, 2024, but was delayed to its current date due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. 23-24. Home media. Mufasa, The Lion King was released for digital download on February 18, 2025, was released on Disney Plus on March 26, 2025, and was released on 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and DVD on April 1. 41. The film debuted at number 3 on the UK's official film chart for the week ending February 26. 42 Mufasa, The Lion King later moved one spot to number 4 on the UK's official film chart for the week ending March 5. 43 The movie climbed from number 4 to number 2 on Fandango at Home's digital sales chart for the week ending March 16. 44 The film debuted at number 1 on both the overall disc sales chart and the Blu-ray disc sales chart for the week ending April 5, according to data from Circana Video Scan. HD formats accounted for 46% of its total unit sales, with 37% coming from standard Blu-ray and 9% from a 4K Steelbook combo pack. 45 For the week ending April 12, Mufasa, The Lion King continued to top both the overall disc sales chart and the Blu-ray disc sales chart. 46. Analytics company Samba TV, which gathers viewership data from certain smart TVs and content providers, reported that Mufasa, The Lion King debuted with 880,000 US households streaming the film within its first 5 days on Disney+. Hispanic households over-indexed by 25% in viewership. By comparison, the film's premium video on demand, PVOD, release on February 18, across digital retail platforms was rented by 217,000 US households in its first 5 days. 47 Nielsen Media Research, which records streaming viewership on certain US television screens, calculated that Mufasa, The Lion King accumulated a total of 2.730 billion minutes streamed between January and June 2025, ranking as the 15th most streamed film in that period. 48-49. Reception. Box office. Mufasa, The Lion King grossed $255 million in the United States and Canada, and $468 million in other territories, for a worldwide gross of $723 million. 5-4 Deadline Hollywood calculated the film's net profit as $175 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, and other costs, box office grosses, merchandise, television, and streaming, and home media revenues, placing it 9th on their list of 2024's most valuable blockbusters. 50. In the United States and Canada, Mufasa, The Lion King was released alongside Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and was originally projected to gross around $50 million from 4,100 theaters in its opening weekend. After making $13.3 million on its first day, including $3.3 million from Thursday night previews, weekend estimates were lowered to $36 to $38 million. 3 It went on to debut to $35.4 million, finishing second behind Sonic the Hedgehog 3. 51-52 in its second weekend, the film retained second place, grossing $36.8 million. 53-54 in its third weekend, it replaced Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at first position at the domestic box office, crossing the $150 million mark. 55-56 in its fifth weekend, the film outperformed newcomers Wolfman and One of Them Days to finish first at the box office over the four-day milk weekend. 57 The New York Times attributed the movie's long-term box office success to less competition from other theater releases and the social media popularity of the movie's songs. 58. In the United Kingdom and Ireland, the film made £4.4 million, $6 million in its opening weekend. 59 In India, the film has made more than 130 Indian rupees crore, $15 million within 2 weeks of its release. 60. Critical response. On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, it has an approval rating of 56% based on 222 reviews. The website's critical consensus reads, Barry Jenkins' deft hand and Lin-Manuel Miranda's music go some way towards squaring the circle of life in Mufasa, but this fitfully soulful story is ill-served by its impersonal, photorealistic animation style. 61. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 56 out of 100, based on 51 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 62 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A, on an A+ to F scale, while those polled by PostTrack gave it an 85% positive score. 3. Several publications said the film's animation was an improvement over the 2019 remake. 63, 64, 65 Matt Zoller Sites of RogerEvert.com gave the film 3+1 stars out of 4, writing it is a technological step up from the remake, in which it finds new ways to make the creatures expressive and emotionally available to us while also somehow convincing us that they are indeed animals, whose every talon, whisker, and hair seems as real as imagery in a nature documentary. 63. Maureen Lee Lenker for Entertainment Weekly wrote the animation was more compelling than the stagnant energy of Favreau's The Lion King, but at times, it feels almost frenzied, as if Jenkins is desperate to prove he can do something interesting with the material. 64. In a 5-star review, The Times' Kevin Marr praised the film's ending as a special effects extravaganza that's thankfully free from the incoherence that dogged Jon Favreau's Lion King remake in 2019. Jenkins instead keeps everything focused on the drama, the pain of broken fraternal bonds, and families destroyed and rebuilt. 65. However, Bill Jebari of Vulture said Mufasa, The Lion King looks impressive on a technical level, but it makes even less of an impression than its 2019 predecessor. Yes, it will surely make truckloads of money. Artistically speaking, it feels like an enormous wasted opportunity, especially given the talent involved. 66. In the AV Club, Ignatiy Vishnevetsky called the film an improvement over the 2019 remake, though noted that making Mufasa and Scar something other than blood relations is a retcon, though it at least explains why they have different accents. 67. The film's screenplay received mixed reviews. 68, 69, 70, 71 Peter DeBrugge of Variety criticized Timon and Pumbaa's comedic interruptions, writing they make strangely self-aware cracks about corporate lawyers, script notes, and a certain hit song they assume everyone's sick of by now. Overall, he said the narrative approach was like a mistake, serving mostly to delay and interrupt the main attraction, which is Mufasa's origin story. 68 Entertainment Weekly called Jeff Nathanson's script lackluster and said the film tried too hard to over-explain Simba's world. Not everything needs a backstory, a lesson that Disney could use right about now. 64. Lovia Gyarki of The Hollywood Reporter said the film's pacing becomes choppier and less coherent. Part of that can be attributed to an overstuffed narrative. Nathanson plumps the story with platitudes and moments that could lead to, well, more franchising. 69. Lin-Manuel Miranda's songs received mixed reviews. C. David Fear of Rolling Stone wrote, "There's nothing near as earworm level as Hakuna Matata or majestically overwhelming as Elton John's original songs, but that Miranda's compositions serve more like he's bending over backwards to complement those earlier karaoke staples." 72 Amy Nicholson of the Los Angeles Times wrote, "It's hard to call any one song a showstopper. They aren't built for bombast, and none are as in the moment earwormy as Hakuna Matata." 71 Lenker said the songs were a lackluster outing from the songsmith, with no memorable tracks to speak of. 64 James Berardinelli of Real Views critiqued the songs are uniformly forgettable, although that could in part be because the numbers in The Lion King are so memorable. Perhaps Lin-Manuel Miranda was tasked with a thankless job. 70 The Times praised the songs, writing, "Miranda delivered what is easily his finest film work since the first Moana." 65 Filmmaker Robert Eggers counted Mufasa among his favorite films of 2024, saying it was truly moving to see what Barry Jenkins' singular voice brought to this massive event film. Aaron Pierre, born June 7, 1994, is a British actor and model. He is best known for his roles as Dev M in Krypton, 2018 to 2019, Caesar Garner in The Underground Railroad, 2021, Brendan in Old, 2021, Terry Richmond in Rebel Ridge, 2024, Malcolm X in Genius, 2024, and the voice of Mufasa in Mufasa, The Lion King, 2024. Early life. Aaron Pierre was born in London 2 on June 7, 1994. 3 He has Curacoan, Jamaican, and Sierra Leonean ancestry. 4-5 He participated in athletics and sprinting as a child, having idolized American gold medalist sprinter Maurice Green. 6 And developed an interest in acting as a teenager. 7 He later joined the Croydon Young People's Theatre, Crypt. 8-9 He studied performing arts at Lewisham College. 10 And trained in Toronto before joining the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. 11 Where he graduated in 2016. 12 Career. Pierre appeared in 2 episodes of the BBC One series The A Word and played a Roman soldier Antonius in Series 1 of the Sky Atlantic series Britannia. 13 In 2018, he began starring as Dev M in the sci-fi series Krypton. 14 15 16 That same year, Pierre starred as Cassio in Othello at Shakespeare's Globe. 17 18 For his performance, he received an Ian Charleson Award commendation. He played the king opposite Lenny Henry in the 2019 production of King Hedley 2 at the Theatre Royal Stratford East. 19 American director Barry Jenkins saw Pierre in Othello and sent him a message afterwards, inviting him to audition for his new series. Pierre landed the role of Caesar in The Underground Railroad, released on Amazon Prime in May 2021. 2021 In July 2021, Pierre appeared as mid-sized sedan / Brendan in M. Night Shyamalan's film Old. 22-23. In August 2021, it was reported that Pierre would re-team with Barry Jenkins as a young Mufasa in a Lion King film. 24 Pierre provided the voice of young Mufasa in Mufasa, The Lion King, released in December 2024. In October 2021, after John Boyega stepped down for family reasons, 25 Pierre starred in Jeremy Saulnier's film Rebel Ridge, streamed on Netflix in 2024. In February 2022, Pierre joined the cast of the upcoming superhero film Blade, which is set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and was scheduled to premiere on November 7, 2025. He was released from the project in March 2024. 26 As a result of script rewrites. 27. Pierre won the Best Supporting Performance in a Film at the 11th Canadian Screen Awards in 2023, for his performance as Francis in the film Brother. 28 In 2023, he starred in Foe, an adaptation of the novel of the same name by Ian Reid. 29. In October 2024, Pierre was cast as Jon Stewart / Green Lantern in DC Studios' Lanterns television series. 30 According to GQ magazine, 2024 was a busy breakout year that included portraying Malcolm X in the Genius, Milk/X series, flexing his best Rambo in Netflix's hit fall action thriller Rebel Ridge, and signing on to play DC Universe space cop Jon Stewart in the upcoming Green Lantern streaming series Lanterns. These days, Pierre's rising star is everywhere. 31. In June 2025, it was announced that Pierre would be starring alongside Margaret Qualley and Patrick Schwarzenegger in Love of Your Life for Amazon MGM Studios. 32. In July 2025, it was announced that Pierre would be joining Jennifer Hudson and Aisha Curry in Stephen Curry and Sony Pictures animated film Goat. 33. In August 2025, it was announced that Pierre would be joining the cast in Star Wars: Starfighter alongside Amy Adams and Ryan Gosling in the Sean Levy-directed Star Wars movie. 34. Personal life. Pierre began dating American singer Tiana Taylor in early 2025. The pair reportedly split in December 2025. 35, 36, 37, 38. He has a son from a previous relationship. 39, 40. Pierre took up boxing in 2016 and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2019, winning his first Jiu-Jitsu tournament in 2023. Kelvin Harrison Jr., born July 23, 1994, is an American actor. His career began with small roles in the 2013 films Ender's Game and 12 Years a Slave. He gained wider recognition for his performance as Travis in the horror film It Comes at Night, 2017. Harrison appeared in the 2019 films Loose and Waves, as well as The High Note, 2020, The Trial of the Chicago 7, 2020, Cyrano, 2021, and Elvis, 2022. He later starred in the 2022 film Chevalier. His accolades include a Screen Actors Guild Award, along with nominations for a British Academy Film Award, Gotham Award, and Independent Spirit Award. Early life and education. Harrison was born on July 23, 1994, in New Orleans, Louisiana, to musicians Shirlita and Kelvin Harrison. 1. He grew up in the Garden District and later moved to the West Bank. 2. He studied studio engineering and marketing, before moving to Los Angeles, California to pursue acting, where he began taking acting classes. 2. He is also a skilled musician, mainly playing jazz and gospel on the piano, trumpet, as well as singing. His father was trained by Ellis Marsalis and grew up with Harry Connick Jr. Harrison studied under Jason Marsalis, recorded with Delfino Marsalis, and met Wynton Marsalis. 3-4. Harrison attended Isidore Newman School 5, where he was one of the few black students in his class and struggled to fit in. 6. He originally went to Loyola University New Orleans to major in studio engineering as his father felt he would excel in music. Harrison ultimately transferred to the University of New Orleans for film, with the goal of writing and directing his own films. 7. Career. In 2012, Harrison was cast in Ender's Game, based on the 1985 novel. He was upgraded to day player and interacted with actors such as Viola Davis, Harrison Ford, and Ben Kingsley. Harrison credits Davis with making him take acting more seriously. He then had a small role in 12 Years a Slave. 7. Harrison would later appear in an episode of WGN America's Underground and the 2016 remake of Roots, both of which were produced in his home state of Louisiana. That same year, the actor had a small role in Nate Parker's The Birth of a Nation. Harrison was initially hesitant to participate in Roots, in part because it would be his fourth portrayal of a slave, and he did not have fond memories of watching the original as a child. In retrospect, Harrison realized just how different the projects were. 1. In the meantime, Harrison landed a supporting role on Fox miniseries Shots Fired 8 as well as a recurring role as Tui Dacey on Crackle's Startup 9. Harrison began the year with a small supporting role in the Netflix-acquired D-Rees Mudbound, which opened at the Sundance Film Festival to critical acclaim. 10. Later that year, He played the role of Travis in Trey Edward Schultz's 2017 psychological horror film It Comes at Night. 11. The film focuses on a family hiding in a forest as the earth is taken over by a highly contagious disease. The film had its premiere at the Overlook Film Festival at Timberline Lodge in Oregon on April 29, 2017 and was theatrically released on June 9, 2017 in the United States by A24, was received positively by critics 12 and grossed over $19 million worldwide. 13. Harrison received praise for his performance, getting nominated for Breakthrough Actor at the Gotham Awards that year. 14. He has credited the role for giving him a reason to continue his acting career. 8. In 2018, Harrison notably starred in 3 films that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, which were Monsters and Men, Assassination Nation and Monster. 15. In Reynaldo Marcus Green's Monsters and Men, he portrays Zurich, a gifted teenage baseball player that becomes politically awakened after seeing a video of a man murdered by the police. In Sam Levinson's Assassination Nation he has a smaller role as Mason, a friend of the female protagonists, and in Anthony Mandler's Monster, based on the Walter Dean Myers novel of the same name. 16. Harrison plays Steve Harmon, a 17-year-old honor student whose world comes crashing down around him when he is charged with felony murder. Assassination Nation and Monsters and Men both got releases in the same year, while Monster acquired a distribution deal with Netflix in 2021. 17. He followed these up with supporting roles in the dramas Jen 18 and JT Leroy. 19. 2019 saw Harrison starring in 2 films that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, social thriller Lose 20 and psychological thriller The Wolf Hour 21, both starring Naomi Watts. For his titular role in Julius Onah's Loose alongside Octavia Spencer and Tim Roth, Harrison received critical acclaim as the all-star high school athlete and accomplished public speaker born in war-torn Eritrea adopted in the United States. Justin Chang of the Los Angeles Times wrote, Harrison's performance, at once slippery and surgically precise, compounds that ambiguity in ingenious fashion. He exhibits a quality that might have seemed like mere self-consciousness in a different actor's hands. 22. Harrison was nominated for Best Male Lead at the Independent Spirit Awards for his performance in the film. 23. Harrison later played Jesse in Nabil Elderkin's directorial debut Gully. 24. The film had its world premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival on April 27, 2019. 25. And eventually found a national theatrical release on June 4, 2021. 26. Harrison's major breakthrough of the year came with Waves, which premiered to critical acclaim at the Telluride Film Festival on August 30, 2019 and found him reuniting with It Comes at Night writer and director Trey Edward Schultz. 27. In the film, Harrison plays Tyler Williams, a popular high school senior and competitive wrestler whose life goes into disarray after suffering a career-ending injury. Schultz stated that he wrote and tailored the role for Harrison, wanting to work with him again after their previous collaboration. 28. Harrison's performance in the film received rave reviews, with many critics favorably comparing and contrasting it to his performance in Loose. 29. 30. IndieWire's Eric Cohn stated that the 2 performances pushed him forward as the preeminent face of disgruntled teenage life. 31. The film is notable for widening his international exposure, leading to a BAFTA Rising Star Award nomination. 32. He capped off the year with a supporting performance as musician Teddy Green in the first season of Epix's Godfather of Harlem alongside Forrest Whitaker. 33. The first half of 2020 saw Harrison venturing into more lighthearted and comedic roles, ranging from his studio debut in a smaller supporting role in Stella Meghai's romance film The Photograph 34 to the male lead in Nisha Ganatra's musical comedy drama The High Note. 35. In the latter, Harrison plays David Cliff, a singer-songwriter who acts as the love interest to Dakota Johnson's Maggie. To prepare for the film and its soundtrack, Harrison worked with a vocal coach for 45 minutes a day, to expand his range, and took guitar lessons. 36 He ended the year with a portrayal of revolutionary socialist Fred Hampton in Aaron Sorkin's biographical ensemble courtroom drama The Trial of the Chicago 7. 37 It was released in selected theaters on September 25, 2020, and began streaming digitally on Netflix on October 16. 38 The film was nominated for 6 Academy Awards. 39 And Harrison and the rest of the cast won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. 40. In 2021, Harrison portrayed Christian in Joe Wright's Cyrano, a musical film adaptation of the off-Broadway play by Erica Schmidt, itself based on the 1897 Edmond Rostand play Cyrano de Bergerac. 41 Harrison was slated to appear in the second season of HBO's Euphoria, which would have reunited him with Assassination Nation director Sam Levinson. 42 But dropped out due to conflicting schedules attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. 43. Harrison portrayed the legendary blues guitarist B.B. King in Baz Luhrmann's 2022 biopic Elvis, which was not only a critical success, but also known for being a film about rock and roll icon Elvis Presley. 44 He then starred in the 2022 film Chevalier, directed by Stephen Williams, in which he portrayed Joseph Bolin, Chevalier de St. Georges, the 18th century black French violin virtuoso and classical composer. 45 In August 2021, it was announced that Harrison would star in Mufasa, The Lion King, Barry Jenkins' follow-up to The Lion King, as the voice of young Scar. 46. Upcoming projects. In January 2022, it was reported that Harrison will portray the artist Jean-Michel Basquiat in Samo Lives, a biopic that will reunite him with Loose director Julius Ona. 47. In May 2025, it was announced that Harrison will play a younger BT Lottier in The Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping, set to be released on November 20, 2026. Bonisile John Connie Oisobe, born August 30, 1942, is a South African actor. He is known for portraying T'Chaka in the Marvel Cinematic Universe films Captain America, Civil War, 2016, and Black Panther, 2018, Rafiki in The Lion King, 2019, and Mufasa, The Lion King, as well as Colonel Ulenga in the Netflix films Murder Mystery, 2019, and Murder Mystery 2, 2023. Also a playwright, Connie co-wrote with Athol Fugard and Winston Entchina the 1975 anti-apartheid play Size Bonzi is Dead, as well as performing in it. Early and personal life. Connie was born on August 30, 1942 in New Brighton, Port Elizabeth, in the Eastern Cape Province of South Africa. 1 in 1975, after appearing in Athol Fugard's anti-apartheid play Size Bonzi is Dead, which he also co-wrote, in the United States, Connie returned to South Africa. There, he received a phone call saying that his father wanted to see him. On his way there, he was surrounded by police who beat him and left him for dead. His left eye was lost as a result of the incident, and he now wears a prosthesis which is technically a glass eye. 2. His son Atandwe is also an actor, who made his debut on U.S. television on the CW series Life is Wild, and played a younger version of Connie's character T'Chaka in Black Panther. 3. Career. Connie joined the Serpent Players, a group of actors whose first performance was in the former Snake Pit of the Zoo, hence the name, in Port Elizabeth in 1965, and helped to create many plays that went unpublished but were performed to a resounding reception. 5-6. These were followed by the more famous Size Bonzi is Dead and The Island, co-written with Athol Fugard and Winston Entchina, in the early 1970s. Connie also received an Olivier Award nomination for his role in My Children, My Africa. 7. Connie's work has been widely performed around the world, including New York, where he and Winston Entchina won a Tony Award in 1975 for Size Bonzi is Dead, which ran for 159 performances, and The Island. 8. These two plays were presented in repertory at the Edison Theater for a total of 52 performances. 9. In 1987, Connie played Othello in a performance of William Shakespeare's play of the same name in South Africa, which was still under apartheid. "At least I'll be able to kiss Desdemona without leaving a smudge," he said then. 10. Nothing But the Truth, 2002, was his debut as sole playwright and was first performed in the Market Theatre in Johannesburg. This play takes place in post-apartheid South Africa and does not concern the conflicts between whites and blacks, but the rift between blacks who stayed in South Africa to fight apartheid, and those who left only to return when the hated regime folded. It won the 2003 Fleur du Cap Awards for the Best Actor and Best New South African Play. 11. In the same year, Connie was also awarded a Special Obie Award for his extraordinary contribution to theater in the United States. 12. Connie is Executive Trustee of the John Connie Theatre Foundation, founder and director of the John Connie Theatre Laboratory and chairman of the National Arts Council of SA. 13. He starred as T'Chaka in the Marvel Studios blockbusters Captain America, Civil War, 2016, and Black Panther, 2018. The fact that Connie was a Xhosa native speaker led Chadwick Boseman, who played his on-screen son T'Challa, to make that Wakanda's language, and to learn whole scenes in Xhosa, although he had never studied the language before. In 2019, Connie appeared in the Netflix film Murder Mystery where he played Colonel Ulenga. He then voiced Rafiki in The Lion King, the photorealistically animated remake of the Disney animated film. 14. Connie's play Kunin and the King, a co-production for the Royal Shakespeare Company and Fugard Theatre, was staged in the Swan Theatre in Stratford-upon-Avon, in 2019 before transferring back to Cape Town. Connie starred alongside Anthony Sher. 15. Other recognition and awards. On February 20, 2010, Connie received a SAFTA Lifetime Award. 16. He has also received the Avanti Hall of Fame Award from the South African Film, Television, and Advertising Industries, an M-Net Plum Award and a Clio Award in New York. Other awards include the Hiroshima Peace Culture Foundation Award for the year 2000 and the Olive Schreiner Prize for 2005. He was voted 51st in the top 100 Great South Africans in 2004. 17. In 2006, he was awarded an honorary doctorate by the University of Cape Town. 18. In 2013, Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University appointed him an honorary Doctor of Philosophy. 1920. In 2016, Connie received the National Honor of the Order of Ikamanga in silver, for his excellent contributions to theater and, through this, the struggle for a non-racial, non-sexist, and democratic South Africa. 1. The main theater of the Market Theatre Complex in Newtown, Johannesburg, has been renamed the John Connie Theatre in his honor. 21. In 2020, he was awarded an honorary doctorate by the University of the Witwatersrand. 22. In 2021, Connie was conferred as the Da Vinci Laureate by the Da Vinci Institute. In 2023, he was awarded an honorary OBE from British government for services to drama. Seth Aaron Rogen, /Ren/Rogen, born April 15, 1982, is a Canadian actor, comedian, and filmmaker. Known primarily for his comedic leading man roles in films and on television, he has often collaborated with his writing partner, Evan Goldberg, and filmmaker and producer Judd Apatow. Rogen has received various accolades including 4 Primetime Emmy Awards, 2 Actor Awards, a Golden Globe Award, a Producers Guild of America Award, a Writers Guild of America Award, and a Directors Guild of America Award. Rogen started his career acting in Freaks and Geeks, 1999, before writing for the final season of Da Ali G Show, 2004, earning a Primetime Emmy Award nomination. After his film debut in Donnie Darko, 2001, he solidified himself as a comedy star with The 40-Year-Old Virgin, 2005, Knocked Up, 2007, and Funny People, 2009. He also acted in Superbad, 2007, Pineapple Express, 2008, Zack and Miri Make a Porno, 2008, The Green Hornet, 2011, This Is the End, 2013, The Interview, 2014, Neighbors, 2014, its 2016 sequel, The Disaster Artist, 2017, and Long Shot, 2019. He has played dramatic roles in 50/50ths, 2011, Take This Waltz, 2011, Steve Jobs, 2015, and The Fabelmans, 2022. Rogen has co-developed the AMC television series Preacher, 2016 to 2019, on which he also served as writer, executive producer, and director. He has also executive produced the Amazon Prime Video superhero series The Boys from 2019 and its spin-offs The Boys Presents, Diabolical, Gen V, and Vought Rising, and Invincible from 2021. He also starred in the Hulu miniseries Pam and Tommy, 2022, for which he received Primetime Emmy and Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor nominations. He is currently starring in the critically acclaimed Apple TV Plus satirical comedy series The Studio, 2025, Present, which he created, wrote, and directed alongside Goldberg, for which he earned 4 Primetime Emmy Awards for acting, producing, directing, and writing. Rogen is also known for his voice roles in the animated films Shrek the Third, 2007, Horton Hears a Who, 2008, The Kung Fu Panda series, 2008 to 2024, The Spiderwick Chronicles, 2008, Monsters vs. Aliens, 2009, Sausage Party, 2016, Be the Lion King, 2019, The Super Mario Bros. Movie, 2023, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, 2023, Bee and Mufasa, The Lion King, 2024. Early life. Seth Aaron Rogen was born on April 15, 1982, in Vancouver, British Columbia, into a Jewish family of Ukrainian and Russian origin. His mother, Sandy Belagas, is a social worker, and his American father, Mark Rogen, worked for non-profit organizations and as an assistant director of the Workmen's Circle Jewish fraternal organization. 3456 Rogen is a dual citizen of Canada and the United States who once said, "I definitely associate with being Canadian much more than being American due to his upbringing in the former." 7 He has described his parents, who met on Kibbutz Beit Alpha in Israel, as radical Jewish socialists. 4 Rogen has an older sister named Danya. 3 He attended Vancouver Talmud Torah Elementary School and Point Grey Secondary School, incorporating many of his classmates into his writing, and took up Kyokushin karate for 10 years. 8-9 He was also known for the stand-up comedy he performed at Camp Miriam, a Habonam Drower camp. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. As a child, Rogen did not want to pursue any career other than comedy, stating, "As soon as I realized you could be funny as a job, that was the job I wanted." 5. He got his start in show business at age 12 after enrolling in a comedy workshop taught by Mark Pooley. 3 His early comedy routines involved jokes about his bar mitzvah, his grandparents, and his camp counselors. 16 As a teenager, he would perform stand-up comedy routines at places like bar mitzvahs and small parties, later shifting to bars. 17-18 A mohel paid him to write jokes. 19 At the age of 13, he co-wrote a rough draft of Superbad with childhood friend Evan Goldberg, whom he had met at bar mitzvah classes. 19-20 Based on their teenage experiences, for Rogen and Goldberg spent the rest of their time in high school polishing the script. They initially worried that American Pie, 1999, had beaten them to the idea for the movie, but they decided that the film managed to totally avoid all honest interaction between characters, which is what we're going for. 4. His mother was supportive of his comic endeavors and would often drive him to stand-up gigs at the comedy club Yuck Yucks. 19 With his deadpan humor, He placed second in the Vancouver Amateur Comedy Contest at 16 years old. 17 Also, when Rogen was 16, his father lost his job and his mother quit hers, forcing them to put their house up for sale and relocate to a significantly smaller apartment. Around this time, he landed a role on Judd Apatow's television show Freaks and Geeks after attending a local casting call. 519 Rogen dropped out of high school, began working for Apatow 2122 and relocated with his family to Los Angeles. Rogen paid the bills and had become the main wage earner at just 16. 5. Career. 1999 to 2006, early work and friendship with Judd Apatow. Rogen's acting debut was as Ken Miller, a cynical, acerbic freak in Freaks and Geeks, an eventual cult hit series first released in 1999. 5. Revolving around a group of teenagers' lives, Freaks and Geeks first aired in 1999 and was well reviewed. The show was NBC's lowest viewed program and was cancelled after one season due to poor ratings. 2123 Impressed with Rogen's improvisational skills, 19 Apatow then chose him as the lead in another of his shows, Undeclared. Rogen was originally set to play a fairly popular college freshman, but the network did not think he was leading man material. Apatow opted not to go along with the show. 19 Rogen also served as a staff writer to the short-lived production. 2425 Following the show's cancellation in 2002, Rogen did not get many auditions, which was not upsetting to him, as he always thought he would achieve better success as a writer. 26 He was soon part of Apatow's frat pack, a close-knit group that included Steve Carell and Paul Rudd. 17 Of the awkwardness of a grown man spending so much time with a teenaged Rogen, Apatow said, "I'm such a comedy fan that, even though he's 16, I know I'm hanging out with one of the guys who's going to be one of the great comics." 19. To stimulate their creativity, Apatow gave Rogen and Goldberg unusual writing tasks, such as turning an idea of his into a movie in 10 days, and coming up with 101-page film ideas. 26 Regarding Apatow's professional effect on him, Rogen said in 2009, "Obviously, I can't stress how important Judd's been to my career." 17. Rogen had roles in Donnie Darko, 2001, and Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, 2004. 27 A big career point for him was becoming a staff writer for Sacha Baron Cohen's last season of The Ali G Show in 2004. 22 Along with the show's other writers, Rogen received a Primetime Emmy Award nomination. 28 He became familiar to audiences as one of the main characters' co-workers in Apatow's well-reviewed buddy comedy directorial debut feature The 40-Year-Old Virgin, 2005, 2930 which Rogen also co-produced, and in which he improvised all his dialogue. 2231 Rogen hadn't done any screen work that indicated he could carry as memorable and convincing a performance as he does with the character Cal, MTV's John Constantine wrote. 27 The Boston Globe reviewer Wesley Morris wrote that Rogen, along with co-stars Rudd and Romany Malco, were each hilarious in their own right. 32 The Orlando Sentinel's Roger Moore believed that Rogen had his moments in the film. 33 Whereas Moira McDonald of the Seattle Times said the actor was droopily deadpan. 34 Rogen followed this with a small role in You, Me, and Dupree, 2006, a critically panned comedy featuring Matt Dillon, Kate Hudson, and Owen Wilson. 35. 2007 to 2009, breakthrough as a leading man. Rogen in 2007. Rogen's breakthrough came when Universal Studios greenlit him for the lead in yet another Apatow production, Knocked Up, 2007, a romantic comedy that follows the repercussions of a drunken one-night stand between his slacker character and Katherine Heigl's just-promoted media personality that results in an unintended pregnancy. On completing The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Apatow had approached Rogen about potential starring roles, but the actor suggested many high-concept science fiction ideas. After Apatow insisted that he would work better in real-life situations, the two agreed on the accidental pregnancy concept of this production. 36 Rogen called shooting sex scenes with Heigl nerve-wracking and was grateful for the supporting cast for shifting some of the film's focus away from him. 37 38 made on a $30 million budget and released on June 1. Knocked Up was a critical and commercial hit, garnering an approval rating of 90% on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes and grossing $219 million. 39-40 Rogen also received favorable reviews. 41-42 later that year, he played a supporting part as an irresponsible police officer in Superbad, which he wrote with his writing partner, Evan Goldberg, and was co-produced by Apatow. Michael Cera and Jonah Hill originate the main roles, two teenage best friends whose party plans go wrong, based on them. For critics outsiders the film and its writing, finding it very authentic. 43 and it topped the US box office for 2 weeks. 44 Rogen then made a vocal cameo appearance in the animated film Shrek the Third, also released in 2007. 45 and hosted Saturday Night Live in October 2007. 46. Rogen's projects in 2008 included Jimmy Hayward's Horton Hears a Who, an animated film based on the Dr. Seuss book, where Rogen voiced Morton the Mouse. 47 and the fantasy film The Spiderwick Chronicles, where he voiced a hobgoblin. 48 He additionally co-wrote Drillbit Taylor, also produced by Apatow and starring Owen Wilson as the homeless titular character. 49 He based the screenplay on a 70-page script done by John Hughes. 50 The movie was panned by critics who thought its plot, a grown man becoming 3 kids' bodyguard and beating up their bullies, had no focus and was too drawn out. If Superbad were remade as a gimmicky Nickelodeon movie, it would probably look something like Drillbit Taylor, Josh Bell wrote in the Las Vegas Weekly. 51 Rogen voiced another animated movie, Kung Fu Panda, with Jack Black and Angelina Jolie. 52 It did exceptionally well in theaters, making more than $630 million. 53 He made a cameo appearance in the comedy Step Brothers, released in July. 54 Rogen, Goldberg, and Apatow were behind the stoner action comedy Pineapple Express, directed by David Gordon Green at Columbia Pictures. Apatow produced it while Rogen and Goldberg wrote the script. 55 Rogen was chosen to play the film's protagonist, a 25-year-old who accidentally witnesses a murder while delivering a subpoena. James Franco was cast as his hippie pot dealer with whom he becomes a fugitive. When asked about its inspiration, Rogen said, "I write what I know." 56 Pineapple Express was released to theaters in August and made $101 million against its $27 million production budget. 57 Critics lauded it, appreciating the performances and humor. 55-58. In April 2008, Empire reported Rogen and Goldberg would write an episode for the animated television series The Simpsons. 59 He also voiced a character in the episode 60 titled Homer the Whopper, which opened the 21st season. 61 Kevin Smith's romantic comedy Zack and Miri Make a Porno rounded out 2008 for the actor. He and Elizabeth Banks portrayed the title roles of two Pennsylvania roommates who try to make some extra cash by making an adult film together. After having difficulty trying to secure an R rating, Rogen commented to MTV, "It's a really filthy movie," but complained, "It's really crazy to me that Hostel is fine, with people gouging their eyes out and shit like that, but you can't show two people having sex, that's too much." 62. The picture was distributed on Halloween by the Weinstein Company and disappointed at the box office. 63 Along with Reese Witherspoon, he voiced a character in the animated science fiction Monsters vs. Aliens, 2009, which did well commercially, with a total of $381.5 million. 64 He then starred in the Jody Hill directed mall cop comedy Observe and Report. 65 In which he portrayed bipolar mall security guard Ronnie Barnhart. The film opened in theaters on April 10. Critics noted a departure in Rogen's acting style from playing laid-back roles to playing a more sadistic character. Wesley Morris from the Boston Globe opined that often with Rogen, his vulnerability makes his coarseness safe. Ronnie is something altogether new for Rogen. Vulnerability never arrives. He's shameless. 66. Later in 2009, Rogen starred in Apatow's third directorial feature, Funny People, with Adam Sandler. Rogen played a young, inexperienced comic while Sandler played a mentor of sorts to his character. The film had more dramatic elements in it than Apatow's previous efforts. 67. Funny People was a commercial failure, coming up short of earning back its $75 million budget. 68. The film received generally positive reviews from critics, with a consensus that it had considerable emotional depth. 69. Rogen hosted Saturday Night Live again in 2009, where the music video for the Lonely Island song Like a Boss, in which he starred, premiered. 70. 2010 to 2014, venture into directing and controversy. After years of development, a feature film adaptation of The Green Hornet was handled by Rogen and Goldberg, with a theatrical release in January 2011. Rogen chose to do a reimagining of the title character. 17. He was executive producer of the movie and also cast himself as the main character. Rogen later admitted to having been overwhelmed by handling its $120 million budget. It's insane. But it's not so much the specific amount of money that's stressful, it's all the things that go along with making a movie of that size. 71. The actor also went on a strict weight loss diet to play the slim crime fighter. 17. The Green Hornet was a critical disappointment. Adam Graham of the Detroit News called it a big, sloppy, loud, grating mess of a movie. 72. And the Arizona Republic's Bill Goody Coons found its story to have fallen apart. 73. Nonetheless, it still opened at number 1 at the box office, making $33 million in its opening weekend before going on to gross more than $225 million. 74. In 2011, Rogen and Evan Goldberg founded the production company Point Grey Pictures, named after Point Grey Secondary School, which they both attended. 75. Rogen at the 2013 WonderCon. Rogen provided the voice and motion capture for the titular character, a gray alien, in the science fiction comedy Paul, 2011. 76. The film also starred Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as a pair of geeks who help Paul escape from FBI agents. 77. He reprised his voice role in Kung Fu Panda 2. 78. As well as produced and took a supporting role in Jonathan Levin's 50/50ths. The dramedy about cancer was based on an autobiographical script by screenwriter Will Reiser. 79. And was released in September 2011. The drama Take This Waltz, his fourth film of 2011, featured Rogen as a man whose wife, played by Michelle Williams, explores a new relationship with another man. 80. From 2011 to 2015, Rogen played Dirty Randy, a librarian and pornographer, in the sitcom The League, in addition to writing 2 episodes. 81. Rogen hosted the 27th Independent Spirit Awards in February 2012, and the road movie The Guilt Trip, co-starring Barbra Streisand, was released in cinemas that December. 82. The film was about an inventor, Rogen, who invites his mother, Streisand, on a road trip, as he attempts to sell his new product while also reuniting her with a lost love. 83. In 2013, Rogen and his screenwriting collaborator, Evan Goldberg, made their directorial debut with This Is the End, a comedy featuring Rogen, Jay Baruchel, James Franco, Jonah Hill, Craig Robinson, and Danny McBride playing fictional versions of themselves facing a global apocalypse. The film received positive reviews and was number 2 at the box office on its opening weekend. 84. 85. Rogen recurred on the revived 4th season of the comedy series Arrested Development in May 2013, playing a young George Bluth Sr., played by Jeffrey Tambor, in several flashback scenes. 86. He co-wrote the foreword for the 2014 book Console Wars, Sega, Nintendo, and the Battle That Defined a Generation by Blake J. Harris, and was reported be working on an adaptation with Goldberg. 87. Rogen hosted Saturday Night Live for a third time in 2014. 88. That May, Rogen starred in Neighbors with Rose Byrne and Zac Efron, which was directed by Nicholas Stoller. In the film, Rogen and Byrne play a couple that comes into conflict with a fraternity, led by Efron's character, living next door. 89 The film became Rogen's highest-grossing non-animated film, having grossed over $270 million globally. 90 Rogen and Evan Goldberg co-directed and co-wrote the story for the action comedy The Interview, starring Rogen and James Franco as a pair of journalists who are recruited by the CIA to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un after setting up an interview with him. In June 2014, North Korea threatened a merciless retaliation on the United States if it did not ban the interview, labeling the movie an act of war and a wanton act of terror, and Rogen himself a gangster filmmaker. 91 In December, Sony Pictures announced that it was canceling the release of the movie after a cyber attack on the studio, allegedly tied to North Korea and threats made subsequently by Kim Jong-un. 92 As a result of criticism of this decision, Sony subsequently made the film available online and it allowed a theatrical release on December 25, 2014. 92 Drawing mixed opinions from film critics. Scott Foundas of Variety found the film to be about as funny as a communist food shortage, and just as protracted. 93 While the Daily Telegraph critic Robbie Collin opined that it was a raucous, abrasive, snort-out-loud satire with mischief in its heart and methane in its gut. 94. It grossed $11.3 million in theaters. 95 But had strong online sales and rentals. 96 Also in 2014, Rogen made cameo appearances in the comedy 22 Jump Street as the double of Jonah Hill's character and in James Franco's drama The Sound and the Fury as a telegrapher. 97-98 During the time, Rogen and Goldberg, through their Point Grey Pictures company, had set up a joint venture with major client Good Universe to set up mainstream comedy films. 99. 2015, present, career expansion. Rogen portrayed Apple Incorporated co-founder Steve Wozniak in the Danny Boyle, directed Steve Jobs biopic, 2015, based on a screenplay by Aaron Sorkin. His performance in the film was widely praised, and he was commended by Wozniak himself for doing an excellent job. 101 In November 2015, Rogen starred alongside Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Anthony Mackie in the Christmas-themed comedy The Night Before as three best friends who annually reunite to celebrate Christmas Eve. 102 In 2016, he reprised his voice role as Master Mantis in Kung Fu Panda 3 and as Mac Radner in the Neighbors sequel Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising. 104 Along with Goldberg and Sam Catlin, Rogen developed the television series Preacher for Sony Pictures Television, which premiered on AMC in May 2016. 105 The show is based on the comic book series of the same name that was created by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon and follows a small-town preacher named Jesse Custer, played by Dominic Cooper, who possesses a superpower that allows him to command others to do as he says. 106 His last release of 2016 was the animated comedy Sausage Party, which, in addition to voicing the lead character Frank, a sausage that tries to escape his fate in a supermarket, he co-wrote and produced. Sausage Party became the most commercially successful R-rated animated film of all time, overtaking South Park, Bigger, Longer and Uncut, 1999. 107 Associated Press critic Lindsay Barr wrote of the film, "There is no one out there making comedies quite like Rogen and Goldberg. They are putting their definitive stamp on the modern American comedy, one decency-smashing double entendre at a time." 108. Rogen at the 2018 San Diego Comic-Con. Along with Evan Goldberg, Rogen directed and executive produced the science fiction comedy series Future Man, starring Josh Hutcherson, which premiered on the streaming service Hulu in November 2017. 109 The same year, Rogen and Goldberg also co-directed a short commercial film for Walmart, titled Bananastown 110, and Rogen portrayed Sandy Schklair, the script supervisor for The Room director and star Tommy Wiseau, played by James Franco, in the Franco-directed film The Disaster Artist, based on the book of the same name, which chronicles the making of the 2003 film The Room. 111 Rogen, as the founder of Hilarity for Charity, an organization that raises funds for Alzheimer's research and support, hosts an annual fundraising comedy event named after the organization. 112 The sixth event was broadcast through the streaming service Netflix in April 2018. 112 In July 2018, it was announced that Rogen was to voice public service announcements in his native Vancouver's TransLink Transit System 113 and Toronto's Toronto Transit Commission. 114 Rogen co-starred alongside Kristen Bell and Kelsey Grammer as the love interest of Bell's character in the 2018 comedy drama Like Father, directed by Rogen's wife, Lauren Miller. 115 In 2019, Rogen starred opposite Charlize Theron in the romantic comedy Long Shot, as an unemployed journalist who reconnects with his childhood love interest and babysitter, Theron, who has become a major political figure. 116. Rogen in 2019. Rogen co-starred in the 2019 remake of the animated musical film The Lion King, 1994, 117 voicing the warthog Pumbaa, who rescues the film's protagonist Simba with his friend Timon, voiced by Donald Glover and Billy Eichner, respectively. 118 He sang 3 songs in the film, which were included on the soundtrack release. 119 Rogen said that, as an actor, I don't think I'm right for every role. There are a lot of roles I don't think I'm right for even in movies I'm making, but Pumbaa was one I knew I could do well. 120. It had a middling reception from critics, and became one of the highest grossing films of all time with earnings of more than $1.663 billion. 121 Rogen and Eichner received praise for their chemistry. 122 123 In 2019, Rogen also produced the comedy Good Boys, starring Jacob Tremblay for Universal Pictures, and the television shows The Boys and Black Monday, directing the pilot for the latter show with Goldberg. 124 In 2021, he voiced Alan the Alien in the animated series Invincible, in which he also serves as producer. Rogen filmed scenes for the James Franco film Zeroville in 2014, which was not released until 2019. 125. Rogen in 2025. In 2020, it was announced that Rogen would serve as a producer for the animated film, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, 2023. 126 In addition to producing, he co-wrote it 127 and provided the voice of Bebop. 128 129 Rogen's first book, Yearbook, was published in May 2021. 130 Yearbook is a memoir that features a collection of essays spanning from Rogen's adolescence to his experiences in Hollywood. 130 In September 2021, Nintendo announced in a Nintendo Direct presentation that Rogen would be voicing Donkey Kong in the 2023 animated film The Super Mario Bros. Movie. 131 With a spin-off film focused around the character planned, as well. 132 In 2023, it was announced that Rogen will serve as an executive producer, and appear as a guest judge, in the upcoming Canadian reality competition series The Great Canadian Pottery Throwdown. 133 Also in 2023, Rogen was cast alongside Aziz Ansari and Keanu Reeves in Ansari's film directorial debut, Good Fortune. 134 The project began filming in January 2024, with Keke Palmer posting on her Instagram page that she had joined Rogen as part of the cast that same month. 135. Political views and activism. Politically, Rogen describes himself as left-wing. Citation needed. Rogen has been active in raising awareness of Alzheimer's disease. The disease runs in his wife's family and has affected her mother for several years. I think until you see it firsthand, it's kind of hard to conceive of how brutal it is, Rogen said to CNN. Until I saw it, you just don't get kind of how heartbreaking it can be. 136. During the interview, he talked about how he tries to be emotionally supportive and around as much as he can for his mother-in-law. Both he and Lauren spoke to Larry King for a Larry King special, Unthinkable, The Alzheimer's Epidemic, which aired in April 2011. 136. Rogen testified about the disease and his charity before the United States Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Labor, Health, and Human Services on February 26, 2014. 137. Rogen started the Hilarity for Charity movement to inspire change and raise awareness of Alzheimer's disease among the millennial generation. 138. Rogen and his wife also initiated the Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Grant Program with Home Instead Senior Care to provide free at-home care to senior citizens. 139. On February 25, 2016, Rogen and Miller were honored with the Unite Together accolade from Unite for Humanity for their work promoting awareness and raising money for Alzheimer's disease research through Hilarity for Charity. 140. Rogen appeared in a Bud Light commercial celebrating LGBT Pride Month and the Supreme Court of the United States ruling that granted same-sex couples the right to marry. 141. Rogen is a member of Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity, Lambda Delta chapter, at the University of Vermont. He was initiated in April 2017 after his fourth visit to the campus for his Hilarity for Charity movement. 142. Rogen is also a member of National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and an open marijuana user. 143. 144. Rogen and his longtime friend and collaborator Evan Goldberg launched the cannabis company Houseplant in Canada in 2019. 145. In June 2018, Rogen was invited by Mitt Romney to speak at a seminar for awareness of Alzheimer's disease hosted by Romney in Park City, Utah. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Paul Ryan, was in attendance, asking Rogen for a photo after Ryan's children engaged Rogen in conversation. Rogen refused, stating in an interview with Stephen Colbert, "I look over and his kids are standing right there expectantly, clearly fans of mine, and I said, 'No way, man,' and telling Ryan, 'Furthermore, I hate what you're doing to the country at this moment, and I'm counting the days until you no longer have one iota of the power that you currently have.'" 146. On July 3, 2018, Rogen criticized Twitter and its CEO Jack Dorsey, claiming he had a bizarre need to verify white supremacists. 147. Variety reported that he was directly in touch with Dorsey over the issue. 148. Several media outlets, including Fortune 149, speculated that Rogen was referring to alt-right figure Jason Kessler, and the Proud Boys in particular. 150. 151. Rogen is a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement. 152. On the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Rogen said in an interview with fellow Jewish comedian Mark Maron in 2020, "As a Jewish person, like I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel my entire life. You know, they never tell you that, oh by the way, there were Palestinian people there. They make it seem like it was just like sitting there, like the fucking doors open." 153. He mentioned his belief that anti-Semitism has remained pervasive and prevalent, but also spoke to the importance of a strong Jewish diaspora. "You don't keep something you're trying to preserve all in one place." 153. 154. 155. Rogen later elaborated, "I think that it's a tricky conversation to have in jest. And that's something that perhaps I now look at and say, oh, now that we joked about that, perhaps we could clarify some things so people don't run around thinking that I think Israel shouldn't exist anymore. And I'm sensitive to Jewish people being hurt, as a Jewish person. And I'm sensitive to Jewish people thinking I'm not a proud Jewish person, which I am. Truthfully, I think my pride in being Jewish and how deeply I identify as a Jewish person perhaps made me feel like I was able to say things without as much context as perhaps I should give them, you know what I'm saying? And I am sensitive to Jews thinking that I don't think Israel should not exist sick, and that there are a lot of Jewish people who are alive who wouldn't be without Israel. And my parents met in Israel, I've been to Israel several times. 156. During the 2025 ceremony of the Breakthrough Prize, Rogen, who was presenting a physics prize alongside Edward Norton, attracted attention with some unscripted jokes regarding the science policy of the second Donald Trump administration. They appeared to target some figures of the tech oligarchy linked to the Breakthrough Prize. 157. He stated that it's amazing that others in this room underwrote electing a man who, in the last week, single-handedly destroyed all of American science, and, it's amazing how much good science you can destroy with $320 million and RFK Jr., very fast. 158. The comments were edited out from the YouTube broadcast, which aired a week later. 159. Personal life. Rogen with his wife, Lauren Miller, at the 69th Annual Golden Globes Awards in 2012. Rogen began dating writer and actress Lauren Miller in 2004. They met while he was working on the Ali G Show. 22. They became engaged on September 29, 2010 160 and married on October 2, 2011, in Sonoma County, California. 161. Miller has had minor on-screen roles in a few of Rogen's films. 162. They have stated they do not plan to have children. 163. Rogen created a cannabis brand in Toronto, Ontario, with his friend Evan Goldberg. 164. After attending pottery classes with his wife in 2017, he began making ceramics. 165. He cites artist Kenneth Price as an inspiration. 166. 167. In January 2021, Rogen revealed on Twitter that he has mild Tourette syndrome, which runs in his family. Mufasa, The Lion King is a 2024 American musical drama film produced by Walt Disney Pictures. The photorealistically animated film serves as both a prequel and sequel to The Lion King, 2019, which itself is a remake of the 1994 animated film. 6. Directed by Barry Jenkins from a screenplay written by Jeff Nathanson, the film's cast includes Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner, Donald Glover, Beyoncé Knowles Carter, and John Connie reprising their roles from the remake. New cast members include Aaron Pierre, Kelvin Harrison Jr., Tiffany Boone, Mads Mikkelsen, Thandai Newton, Lenny James, Anika Noni Rose, and Blue Ivy Carter in her feature film debut. 7. It features Rafiki recounting to Simba and Nala's cub, Kiara, the history of Mufasa, including how he first met Scar and other allies, his battle against a renegade pride of white lions, and the journey that led him to become king of the Pride Lands. Development on a prequel to The Lion King was confirmed in September 2020, with Jenkins attached to direct and Nathanson finishing a draft of the script. Pierre and Harrison were announced as the voice cast in August 2021, followed by further casting between September 2022 and April 2024. The film was officially announced when its official title was revealed in September 2022 at the 2022 D23 Expo announcement. Production on the film slowed down in July 2023 due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. The film is dedicated to James Earl Jones, the voice of Mufasa in the 1994 film and remake, who died 3 months before the film's release. As a tribute, his voice is heard briefly during the opening titles. 8-9. Mufasa, The Lion King premiered on December 9, 2024, at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles, and was distributed in the United States by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures on December 20. 10. The film received mixed reviews from critics who praised the visual effects, vocal performances, and Jenkins' direction but were critical of the screenplay. It grossed $723 million, making it the sixth highest grossing film of 2024. Plot. Sometime after Simba defeated his usurping uncle Scar and became king of the Pride Lands, he and Nala have a daughter, Kiara, and are expecting another cub. They leave for an oasis for the birth, leaving Timon and Pumbaa to watch over Kiara. Rafiki visits them and recounts the story of Kiara's grandfather Mufasa, with Timon and Pumbaa adding color commentary. Years before, as a cub, Mufasa lives with his parents, Masigo and Afia, in a coastal desert while dreaming of the legendary Mile, a lush oasis. A flash flood rages, seemingly killing the couple, and sweeps Mufasa into a wetland where he meets Taka, a royal cub. After surviving an attack by young crocodiles, Mufasa is accepted by Taka's mother Queen Eshe but tested by King Obesai, who races Taka and Mufasa to decide his fate. Taka deliberately loses so Mufasa can stay. As time passes, the two brothers grow close, although Obesai prejudices outsiders. During a hunt, Mufasa kills one of two attacking white lions. The survivor warns Kiros, leader of the outcast outsiders, who seek revenge for Kiros' son Chichi's death. King Kiros, along with his sisters Akua and Amara, leads an assault on Obesai's pride, massacring Obesai, Eshe, and their lions. At Eshe's urging, Mufasa and Taka flee before the outsiders arrive, jumping from a waterfall to escape their attack. After getting stranded in a jungle, the pair meets Arabi, her hornbill scout Zazu, and a young Rafiki. Rafiki, guided by visions, leads them toward Mile. The outsiders catch up to the group, forcing Sarabi to cause an elephant stampede so they can escape. Taka falls for Sarabi but grows jealous when Mufasa saves her during the stampede. Out of loyalty, Mufasa credits Taka with Sarabi's rescue. As they travel through snowy mountains, Sarabi admits she knows Mufasa saved her, and the two fall in love. Envious, Taka allies with Kiros, secretly leading the outsiders to their group. At Mile, Rafiki identifies Mufasa as his brother from the prophecy. The outsiders arrive to attack, and Mufasa discovers Taka's betrayal while battling Kiros. Trapped in a cave, Mufasa is nearly killed by Kiros until, upon realizing what he has done, a remorseful Taka intervenes. Kiros slashes across Taka's eye, leaving a scar. As the animals of Mile are rallied to battle the outsiders by Mufasa, Rafiki causes an earthquake that kills most of the outsiders, while Kiros drags Mufasa into an underwater cavern. A rockfall allows Mufasa, remembering Eshe's earlier advice, to defeat Kiros, and Taka saves Mufasa from drowning, fighting off the urge to drown him. Sarabi witnesses the rescue, sympathizes Taka, reunites with Mufasa, and they all exit the cave together. Mufasa becomes king of Mile and reunites with the surviving Afia, learning Masigo has died. Mufasa forgives Taka and allows him to stay but disowns Taka's name for his unintentional betrayal, prompting Taka to adopt the name Scar. Mufasa ascends the newly created and named Pride Rock and roars over his kingdom. In the present, Kiara roars into the sky as Mufasa's spirit watches. Kiara reunites with Simba and Nala and meets her newborn brother, offering to tell him their grandfather's story. Voice cast. Main article, List of the Lion King, franchise, characters. A smiling Kelvin Harrison Jr. A smiling John Connie. A smiling Billy Eichner. A smiling Seth Rogen. A smiling Donald Glover. A smiling Beyoncé. Blue Ivy Carter. A smiling Anika Noni Rose. A smiling Keith David. A smiling Mads Mikkelsen. A smiling Thandai Newton. A smiling Lenny James. A smiling Folekolo Ofoyaku. A smiling Thusom Bidu. Sheila Atim. Aaron Pierre, in 2024, Kelvin Harrison Jr. In 2021, John Connie, in 2015, Billy Eichner, in 2025, Seth Rogen, in 2025, Donald Glover, in 2015, Beyoncé Knowles Carter, in 2023, Blue Ivy Carter, in 2023, Anika Noni Rose, in 2024, Keith David, in 2012, Mads Mikkelsen, in 2025, Thandai Newton, in 2021, Lenny James, in 2019, Folake Oloafoyaku, in 2023, Dosom Bidu, in 2019, and Sheila Atim, in 2014. Aaron Pierre as Mufasa, an orphaned lion who grows up to become the future king of the Pride Lands, the father of Simba and the grandfather of Kiara. Pierre voices Mufasa as an adolescent.